Welcome to the Explainer. Every single day, businesses generate an absolutely enormous amount of data. We're talking quintillions of bytes globally. It's mind-boggling. But let's be real for a second. Not all data is created equal, and it certainly isn't all equally valuable. If you're operating in the B2B space, there is one specific type of information that is an absolute game changer for finding your ideal customers. We're talking about firmographic data. Okay, let's dive into this and explore exactly what this data is, why it's so incredibly critical, and how modern businesses are collecting it at a massive scale without getting blocked.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll cover what firmographics actually are, the different types of data, why this data matters so much, 3 key business uses, and finally, how the technical execution works to collect all this data at scale.
So, part 1. What actually are firmographics? What does this data represent in the real business world?
You've probably heard the term thrown around in sales meetings, and this brilliantly illustrates the concept by anchoring it to something we're all already very familiar with, demographics. When you're selling to consumers, right, you use demographic data to describe individuals, stuff like age, gender, and income. But when you're a B2B company selling to other companies, you need the business equivalent. So instead of looking at a person's individual income, you look at an organization's overall revenue. Instead of a person's age, you're looking at company size or industry. It's essentially the DNA of a business.
Formalizing that definition just a bit, firmographic data is the information used to categorize and describe organizations. It really allows you to understand businesses at a significantly deeper level. This is the ultimate key to identifying your ideal customers and building highly targeted prospect lists, literally without the guesswork. When you have this data, you aren't just firing arrows in the dark, hoping to hit something. You are specifically targeting organizations that fit the exact profile of a successful customer. Moving right along to Section 2, the types of firmographic data. Let's break down how we actually categorize these businesses.
There are a few core categories businesses track to build out their profiles. You've got industry, like software, healthcare, or retail, company size, which is usually measured by employee count, annual revenue, which is a great indicator of purchasing power and organizational maturity, geographic location, getting down to specific regions or even headquarters, and crucially, the technology stack, knowing what software a company is already using. Imagine, for instance, a hypothetical enterprise SaaS company. They don't want just any business. They want to specifically target North American companies with maybe 100 to 1,000 employees doing over 10 million in revenue that are actively investing in cloud tech like AWS or Salesforce. That exact level of precision? Yeah, that's only possible with firmographics.
Which brings us to Section 3, why this data matters, and why you absolutely cannot afford to ignore its strategic value.
So the crucial point is that leveraging these benefits prevents your business from wasting precious time approaching every single potential company out there. By focusing only on organizations that closely align with your ideal customer profile, you get vastly improved lead generation. Your sales teams actually prioritize businesses that are most likely to convert. Marketers get way better market segmentation and can run highly effective account-based marketing or ABM campaigns because they know exactly who they're talking to. It even extends to competitive intelligence and helps your customer success teams better understand client needs based on their unique organizational characteristics. It's a total win-win.
All right, Section 4. 3 key business uses. Let's shift from general benefits to the actual daily applications.
Use case number 1 is sales prospecting. Think about a typical sales rep for a second. Without this data, they are stuck manually researching thousands of businesses on Google. Frankly, it's a soul-crushing waste of time. Firmographic filters absolutely rescue sales reps from that tedious labor. They can instantly filter out the noise and focus exclusively on high-quality prospects that perfectly match their ideal customer profile.
Use case number 2 is market research. Researchers utilize this data to spot the much bigger picture. When you aggregate firmographic data across thousands or even millions of companies, you really start to identify macro trends. You can see exactly which industries are growing, spot brand new growth opportunities in specific geographic regions, and, best of all, find hidden gaps in the market that your competitors haven't even noticed yet.
And the third key use is competitive analysis. This one is fascinating because it allows companies to benchmark themselves. You can use firmographic data to compare your own organizational maturity, your revenue, and your footprint directly against your rivals within specific industries, regions, or revenue segments. It essentially tells you exactly where you stand in the market landscape.
Okay, let's take a quick mental reset here. We know what this data is, and we know exactly why it's incredibly valuable. But that begs the very natural follow-up question. How do modern businesses actually acquire all of this information? Obviously, manually Googling companies one by one just isn't going to cut it. So how do you collect this data at scale?
That brings us to our final section. Section 5, collecting data at scale using web scraping and proxies.
The answer to gathering all this data is modern web scraping, paired with incredibly powerful APIs. These services provide web scraping APIs that act as the ultimate automated solution. You can extract web data without having to manage clunky browsers or super complex infrastructure. These tools are built specifically for automation and scale, featuring integrated proxy networks that ensure you get consistent success rates when pulling data from target websites. This means no more constantly getting blocked and no more dealing with endless annoying captchas while you're trying to build your prospect lists.
Now, what's really interesting about this is how different proxy types handle entirely different scraping challenges. If you have a really demanding project where bot detection is super high, you use residential proxies. These are pools of real residential IPs that yield very high success rates. If you need pure speed and massive volume for a flat fee, you tap into data center proxies, which gives you access to over 20,000 unique IPs with uncapped bandwidth. And if you need to view data exactly as a mobile user would, you deploy mobile proxies, routing through real 3G, 4G, or 5G connections. It's all about matching the right infrastructure to the specific firmographic data you're extracting.
And we absolutely have to emphasize the sheer scale of the geographic targeting available today. With modern proxy providers, you can access IPs from over 140 different countries. Think about that for a second. This means if you were doing market research on organizations in Europe, Australia, or literally anywhere else, you can seamlessly route your requests through those exact locations. You can even get incredibly granular, targeting down to a specific city or even a specific internet service provider to gather highly localized firmographic insights.
Let's move on and see how this builds into complete operational transparency. One of the biggest historical pain points with data collection was being entirely blind, basically relying on a black box proxy. While today, scalable data collection relies on live dashboard reporting. You can actively monitor your current bandwidth, check your thread limits, see your active versus failed connections, and troubleshoot everything in real time. It completely ensures that your large-scale firmographic data extraction runs smoothly and continuously, without any of the old headaches.
Which leaves us with a final thought to ponder. We've seen exactly how precise firmographic data transforms B2B strategy, and we've seen the powerful web scraping and proxy technologies used to automatically gather it at just an incredible scale. So ask yourself, are your current data collection methods keeping up with the competition, or are manual research methods fundamentally holding your business back from reaching its true ideal customer profile? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep learning, and I'll catch you next time.